Which parenting style is most encouraged in modern America? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about the parenting styles and what parenting styles Americans are using most and what actually is going to be the most effective. If there is one controversial topic among parents, it is what type of parenting is best. I think parents are all over the place on this. I actually talk with people all the time. They come to me for help. They come to me saying, my child is struggling. What do I do about it? Or I am having a difficult time keeping myself calm and in control. What can I do about that? How do we solve these problems and not become mortal enemies, of each other in our families? Because homes seem like a battleground for some people. Other people feel a lack of connection with their children and they're not sure how to establish that connection that they want to feel with them. Sometimes people's children are really sensitive, can't handle things happening in their lives, and they have a lot of problems that they don't know how to solve, and they're very fragile feeling and they don't know what to do about that or how that even happened because they don't remember feeling so afraid or fragile as a child. All of these things go back to how a person is parented. Now, it's not that I want to place blame on anybody because we don't know what we don't know, right? And it's not like a child comes with a manual, and that's a hard thing. I think people have always said that. I wish children came with a manual for like how to use it. That's the person who's like, if I just had the checkoff list, I would do it. Don't worry, I have help for you. I even have a manual. But first, let's talk about what is going on with the different types of parenting, okay? Why is it that we are having all of these different results that are happening? Why is there so much confusion and contention about what type of parenting is best? And truly, right now in modern America, what are more people doing than others? In the United States, roughly 46% of parents say that they consider themselves to be authoritative parents. So what is that? Okay, authoritative parents are the type of parents who take time with their children to talk about things. They're the type of parents who might discuss feelings and behaviors with their children a little bit more. Okay, so these are the ones that really try to be a little bit more deliberate and calm in their parenting. This is good. This is good that they consider themselves authoritative. But I've got to tell you something, that I meet with a lot of parents. They'll come talk to me when I have conferences and they'll say, you know what, I really always thought I was doing some really good authoritative type parenting. But what I'm recognizing is I am dropping the ball on the teaching. There are things I'm missing. I'm not giving my child enough skills. And no wonder we keep having these problems, these disconnection problems and stuff like that. There are so many parents who think of themselves as truly great parents because they're not getting angry like their parents used to do, but they still don't have the skills and the principles that they need in order to be truly strict in their parenting. What do I mean by strict? Years ago, I was on a BBC documentary called The World's Strictest Parents. Now, I did not like the name of the documentary. Well, it was a reality TV show. We need to be serious about what it really was, right? Anyway, they asked me to be on this and I thought, I'm not strict. I don't yell at my children or anything like that. I'm not a micromanager, And they said, well, will you let your children do drugs? Do you let them, hang out at the pub with their friends and get tattoos and, all this kind of stuff? And I was like, well, no. And they said, well, you're strict. That's a pretty low bar in my mind. So what they meant was I was principled, okay? So strict actually means, I looked the word up when they asked me to be on the program. The word means a person who governs themselves by a certain set of principles. So if you are strict, then that means your principles and your practice match each other. Most people, they have principles here, practice here, and so they're not strict. They end up manipulating and wonder if they'll ever get to being able to live their principles fully. Strict, it's a match. So a truly authoritative parent would have that match. Now, years ago, after the BBC show and after people saw these children come to my home, have tantrums, me and my husband be calm but be firm at the same time and allow them the opportunity to accept consequences and those types of things and do a lot of good teaching, but loving too with those children, they actually wondered how these children changed so drastically in our home. And so they asked me to write books. So I wrote this book first called Parenting a House United. And then I realized that people needed a little bit more help understanding what their options were. So then I wrote this book called Popular Parenting Methods to help parents with their own self-government so they could see their options of parenting and how what I taught in this book really was different than what they might be seeing socially. So there are 3 different types of parenting that I outline in this book, and there's some videos on this channel where I go into some details about those different parenting styles as well, so you can get a little bit of a sneak peek by watching some of those videos. If you understand the parenting choices, then you can hopefully decide what type of parent you want to become. So this brings me back to our survey. So there was a survey that was done, and I don't know how many parents were surveyed. I don't know which socioeconomic class was surveyed. I don't know who participated in this survey or if they even understood the different types of parenting. They told them 4 types of parenting, and those 4 types of parenting were what they asked them that they were. One was authoritative. We already heard that there's 46% of parents who said they were that. And by the way, that's the best one to pick. So who wouldn't say that they're that, right? But then there's also authoritarian parenting. This is the little bit more heavy-handed, spank the child, maybe yell or get angry type of a person. That type of parent, in the US, there were 26% of parents that said that they were that type of parenting. Now, I've got to tell you, I go to a lot of conferences, I meet a lot of people. In the more principled areas of the country where it's a little bit more maybe biblical, they're really focusing on living religious principles, they have a tendency to be more authoritarian, okay? Or authoritative. So that bully, a little bit more aggressive type parenting is justified for many people because there are maybe some Bible verses that I have to say they might not be taking seriously. Boy, I could go into some serious detail about what I think about spanking, and you'll have to watch other videos about that in order to find that information. I'm pretty sure there's videos on this channel about sparing the rod, but also about what does the Bible say about spanking, okay? So be sure to look up those videos if you are in that type of frame of reference. Okay, so what about the rest of the parents? 10% of parents said that they were neglectful. This means they're totally like, I don't even care. I'm not even gonna do it. Or maybe they're not even in their child's life, okay? That would be neglectful. And then 18% of parents said that they were permissive. Okay, permissive also is kind of hands-off. That's the like, I'm gonna be the child's friend, the child can do whatever they want, but I'm not gonna, necessarily stop them or be controlling in any way. We're gonna talk about their feelings and their happiness and, what they want to have happen, and they get to pick everything. The child is like the leader, the director of stuff. So here's the thing, that's actually neglecting the needs of the child too. Let me explain. Okay, so how is being a friend to your child neglectful? It's because you're neglecting who you are and who they are. You're forgetting that. So I wrote a whole book on this called Roles. If we don't understand our family roles, what does it mean to be mother? What does it mean to be father? What does it mean to be 17-year-old son or 13-year-old daughter? If we don't understand our roles in the family and who we are to each other on a deeper level than just who takes out the trash or makes money or whatever, because those are just responsibilities, then we will neglect our responsibilities as a parent, okay? So you are neglecting your children if you don't correct them, if you don't teach them, because you're a teacher. That's one of your primary roles as a parent is teacher, and they're a learner. You're not even respecting their role as learner if you don't teach. Permissive parents don't do a ton of teaching, so they technically are neglecting. So if we put the 10% And the 18% of neglectful and permissive parents together, that's 28%. So what we have is 46% who say they're authoritative, which is great if they really are. But a lot of them are lacking the skills, and I already know that. And some people just don't want to say that they're other things, right? So we don't know how honest the people really are who took the test. Then we have this neglectful permissive style. That's 28% if you put those together. So that then becomes a very popular form of parenting in America. And then we have 26% of people who fully say, I'm authoritarian, I'm going to spank, I'm going to yell, I'm going to hit. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? So, and good for them for being honest about it. We don't need to be permissive, neglectful, or authoritarian. There is a way to be authoritative and to truly be authoritative if we have the skills. So let's talk about some of those skills now. All right, if you're authoritative in your parenting, or if you're not yet, I want to give your authoritative parenting a boost. Okay? If you teach your child skills ahead of time, this is very deliberate, conversation is happening, you're doing teaching. This maintains your roles. It also keeps you that deliberate, what I call traditional strict or authoritative type parent. So you teach ahead of time certain skills. In our family, there are 4 basic skills that I teach my children for success, whether they were foster children who were teenagers, they came to my home at age 17, or whether they were babies just starting to learn self-regulation and how to be calm and control themselves. I always taught the same 4 basic skills. So the 4 basic skills that I teach for children are all taught in these 4 children's books. They're also taught in my other parenting books and in my course. But these 4 books teach the skills to children, and they're so great. This red one teaches following instructions. That's a 5-step process. This green book teaches accepting no answers and criticism. This blue book teaches accepting consequences. And this purple book teaches disagreeing appropriately. And just like the following instructions skill, these skills all have steps associated with them. So when a person learns the steps to these 4 basic skills, that actually helps them know step by step what they need to do in those moments where they are going to control themselves in one way or another. It helps them maintain calmness because all of these skills teach about calmness and maintaining calmness as well. That's a really key thing in authoritative parenting is, are you calm? It's one thing to listen to your child talk about their feelings, but do they know how to be calm? And are you dumping out your feelings on other people as well? Well, that's not calm either. Many times people think that authoritative parenting is when you are just expressing yourselves to each other, but it's much more than that. Do we know how to problem solve, and do we know how to self-regulate? Those would all be things associated with good authoritative parenting. This means that as a parent, we have to have a plan. We have to know, how are we going to correct the children and teach the children? How are we going to impart these skills to them? Those types of things are taught in my TSG parenting course. There are 5 teaching styles that parents can use to help their children learn self-government while also learning self-government too. Self-government really is the solution for the authoritative parent, because then your skills can actually be based upon your principles. You can deliberately set up an environment where everyone can follow through. What is self-government? Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is that you understand cause and effect as it relates to your behaviors as well as your children's behaviors. But you also are not afraid of doing the difficult thing of assessing you so that you control you. That's a very powerful thing to do. In fact, there are many people who do not take those powerful steps at self-governing themselves. And instead, they start blaming everyone else for their problems. The last thing we want to do is blame other people. And all of those other styles of parenting do exactly that. The only one that is truly authoritative and truly deliberate is the one where even parents take personal responsibility for themselves, their hearts, and their behaviors, just like the children do. If you have enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love my next video, which is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. In this video, I will go into the details about how to set up an environment so that a person can learn self-government and likes it too. It should unite your family together, bring you closer together as a family. Click on the link to The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success now. I'll see you there.